It starts to warm up at the end of the week.
Yes, it does.
But hey, look, Dr. Ellie's here.
I am.
Yes.
Terrifyingly. In these circumstances, maybe.
And she's here for a special edition of Countdown to Contact.
Boo, boo, boo. Oh, you guys have a really fun thing. I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
I thought that said 2007. It looks, I can see it's 2027
Yeah.
now. But like when it's coming up over the moon, it does look like 2007.
2027 is coming up
No,
on
stop.
our moon here.
I don't like any of the words that you're saying, actually. Nope, that's wrong.
So let's start with this. We got a first release. So we had the reports of this was coming, and there was a lot of chatter and a buzz that they're going to start doing this. And sure enough, last Monday, 1 week ago, at 8 a.m., I think we got our first release. And so let's talk about what was in it.
Ellie, well, how plugged in are you with all this?
Here-
Before we just a little table setter.
Yeah. No, so I would say I'm relatively plugged in. Disclosure hearings have been happening for years and years now with UFO experts and folks within the U.S. government to discuss the ways in which we need to start releasing documentation like they did with Project Blue Book. And there have been other governments that have done disclosure policies and hearings and things and have actually disclosed all of their documents and even closed their investigative desks. So I will say that I am plugged in-ish. I haven't read every file.
Right.
Well,
Which is really hard
I
to
mean,
do.
I'm just
What have you
like,
been doing
know,
over the weekend?
Clearly not using my time well.
Yeah.
I mean, we could get down in the nitty gritty. I will say, not to yuck anyone's yum here, but the website is hysterical to me. I love it. I really do.
I haven't
'Cause
taken a look,
haven't been at
honestly.
the
I haven't
website.
taken a peek.
Goodness gravy, you all are
So,
missing out.
war.gov/UFO,
UFOs.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is an amazing, truly phenomenal name for a website.
It
really
is.
is.
Amazing. Yeah, it's crazy.
Like
It's crazy.
I just was really in my moment when I saw it. But no,
Proof that we're living in a
it's
simulation,
like,
right?
Yeah, no, it's like, woof, wild. But I mean, just look at this thing. I mean, this is what happens when you open it up. Sorry, audience, this is the most exciting part of media you'll ever experience.
Oh,
but
boy.
we've got like this amazing blocky all caps
Fonts
text
from right from the jump. It's
Right from the
very,
jump.
Very X-Files, right?
It
Yeah, and you
looks
scroll to
extremely
the bottom and
X-Files.
you can tell that you're only on page 1 of 17.
Yes.
Yeah, which is fun.
But
Yeah.
when you look at it, and also if you try and go by like any of the classifying data, like if you try and organize it by incident date, it doesn't actually go by incident date, which is
Interesting.
tough. They had it's
Yeah.
tough. It's tough out here to make something look good and be functional. The thing that stuck out to me is it looks like the Independence Day marketing branding from the Resurgence movie that came out several years ago.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at with it. All that to say, let's go back to derailed
Yeah,
us like
there
I
you
always
go.
do. I'm so sorry.
that's okay.
It's amazing you all invite me back. Actually,
We've got a few images, I think, of some of the things that were in this. I would say nothing. There was nothing that. A lot of it we'd seen before.
yes.
Right, and then there were a few new things. You got images and videos that look like this.
Yeah.
A
lot of
lot of
that.
radar and like
Yeah.
the high tech scanning data
Right.
that I don't.
Military
Correct.
platforms.
Drone footage.
Yeah.
A lot of like military bombing scenarios or like really intense drone images from Syria. I don't know. That stuff is all, when you're in active conflict in Syria and there's flashes of light,
Yeah.
that was one of them. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, they're right. It's unidentified. They don't know what it is. I mean, I think that's the problem, right? It's like when we use terminology like UAP or UFO, all it means is that it's unidentified.
Right.
It doesn't mean
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
extraterrestrial
Sure.
or ultra-terrestrial, any of the terms that you want to use. And so we kind of get wrapped up in this idea that every single one of these is going to be something paranormal or
Yeah.
supernatural or otherworldly or unexplainable. But the truth
And they
is...
didn't, and they don't specify on this website. They just throw it out there. You decide. Like,
Yes, which is, this sounds so conspiratorial of me, but that is one of the arguments against doing disclosure in this format, because it feels very manipulative on
Yep.
part of the government just to bury nuggets of truth. Like the reports from the Apollo 17 astronauts are in here, right? So, and Buzz Aldrin's reports of seeing stuff on the moon and seeing stuff to and from the flight to the moon. I mean, that is buried within this.
That was some of the most pertinent new information, right? I think we have maybe some images of that too. So Apollo 12 had a lot of images, which I'm sure the conspiracy nuts have a field day with this as well, because like, we didn't go there in the first place. So like, if you don't believe we went to the moon, then you're not going to believe these images. But so these are images from Apollo 12, where there's just stuff floating around, and a lot of the transcripts of their communication where it's like they're talking about this stuff, like what's that like out there, and stuff like that, and
4th of July style lighting that would go on for hours, 20 minutes, or it was like 3 hours the first day, 20 minutes the second day, and then like 6 minutes the last day. And they're all talking about it. And you're right. I mean, it's really compelling and it's really interesting, and it's I find this very fascinating for so many reasons, but chief among them is this desire and need to layer science throughout this, and folks want to assign scientific explanations to every single thing in here, whether that be scientific in terms of it is an extraterrestrial, or scientific in terms of, oh, well, those flashes of light are tests from a satellite, blah, blah, blah. But, they couldn't have been. I mean, it's amazing.
And if anybody's new to this, like, why are you all talking about this on a Frankfurt morning show?
Well, I mean, why not?
Like, as we said at the top of the show, we find ourselves with this responsibility because we were one of the first to talk about the fact that a report from, I don't know, it was at least 5 or 6 years ago, that
like
Disclosure Day was
something like that.
That they were going to, that it's been scheduled that they were going to have, the government was going to have a press conference and bring out the alien, here he or she it is. And let's here they are. They've been here.
This is happening.
And in 2027.
Yeah.
And it's been headed that way for a long time. So since we broke that, we've had Countdown to Contact and kind of tracked it going in through.
That's good. I didn't know that. I didn't know that about you. I mean, I knew obviously my pal Snoopy has graced this desk for many eon now, but I didn't realize that you all we've been on top of it. You were on the cutting edge of the reports. That's phenomenal.
So we have to keep it going.
It's a responsibility.
We're a trusted source for this.
You are. It's you and News Nation up against the rest of the world, honestly.
That's what I like to hear.
I mean,
it's a responsibility.
I really do feel that. But I also think it's really important to talk about global incidences at the local scale.
How it affects local,
Yeah, because the truth is, if there is some big press release that there are aliens, that they come from a different planet, or they come from another dimension, or they come from the center of the earth. I've been watching the Monarch series right now, so that's where my head is, I guess. But if that happens, people in Frankfurt and Franklin County are going to have to deal with these ramifications.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
it affects like every living like human being on the planet, and to some degree.
And we'll get into that a little bit coming up. So there's reports that a second release is coming, maybe as soon as this week. Have you heard that?
But is it just going to be another dump of data?
I think so. I think this is
to Ellie's point. I am very skeptical, as folks know, of our current administration and almost anything that they do, and so that's the bummer for me. Is that I'm like, why are we doing it in this way? And and within all these documents, there are like artist renderings. They're not actual like images that were taken by people. They're like accounts and then artist generated renderings that are like. There's just stuff in there that just doesn't. I don't know. It seems like it looks like it would have been in like a 50s sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
I agree. There is historic precedence of it. I mean, Blue Book functioned exactly the same way, where they do. And if you're unfamiliar with Project Blue Book, it was the largest scale effort by the United States government to do investigations into unidentified flying phenomenon at the time, flying objects, I guess technically. But what they did when the project concluded and they declassified it is they just did a massive dump of every single thing that was in Project Blue Book. And a lot of it, if you go and look at the files, has terrestrial explanations. And that's where we get the whole, it was
weather
swamp
balloon.
glass, swamp gas, weather balloon, blah, 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 whatever it might be.
Two favorites,
Yeah, those are always the ones that are called upon. Justifiably so. I mean, they were the explanation at the time. And also, if you think about the political moment of Project Blue Book in the 40s and 50s, there was a growing anxiety around war, around scientific advancements, around all these things that were happening. And we're kind of in that same upswing, right?
Yeah.
There's growing anxiety about the role of AI. There's growing anxiety about war. There's growing anxiety about the state of the government, which was all
Economy,
happening back then
Sure.
as well. And you kind of see these things come in swings. So immediately after Project Blue Book, there was the Condon report. I'm going to get that wrong. But that essentially was the U.S. government saying, like, okay, we've done this. None of this concluded anything. None of this came to anything. Like, we have given you everything that we have, and it was meaningless. Like, it didn't.
Yeah.
So I foresee that being what happens next.
Okay, so let me put some guardrails on us.
Ooh, I love guardrails. Those are important.
So, and to your just a little nugget on Project Blue Book, the head of Project Blue Book, whose job it was to say and calm everybody down and say this was swamp gas, this was weather balloons, this was and constantly discredit everything. He was also Spielberg's main advisor for Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Love
yeah.
that.
Yeah. So after he gets out of his official position, then he's like, yeah, it's all real.
You know, life
starts telling
imitates
people.
art, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it goes.
So we're gonna get supposedly another. Obviously, that's coming, another release, but it could be as soon as this week. And from what we're hearing from some people, the releases will be of an escalating nature. That we get this first one is a bunch of stuff we've already seen. Yeah, it's Tic Tacs flying around. We're very desensitized to all of that.
Yeah,
so it
blobs,
didn't really,
lights,
yeah,
the things.
like
yeah.
we've been seeing it for a while and nobody really cares. Tim Burchett said the holy crap moment is coming. That it's on its way. That
And that he's seen it, allegedly? Okay.
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's that, and so it's not apparently if you believe what they say, then we will get something that will make more of a dent than.
I want to be optimistic.
Uh-huh.
I see. This is like such an interesting position that you have inadvertently placed me in. I want to be optimistic, but if we look at
When you say optimistic,
that there's an answer,
okay,
I feel like that won't happen.
right. Will we see images that kind of? I can imagine them putting in images like what in the world is that?
Like what? Okay, so what to you would qualify as a holy crap moment? Tic Tacs, blah, blah,
It's the same. It's the same question I was going to ask you.
Oh,
right. And for me, yeah, because what is it that moves the needle? What is it that makes a dent in the current, this era and what we've been exposed to and the news cycle that we have? For me, it's like one of two things. It's that maybe you've got live video. They invite reporters in to Area 51 and they take them down into a basement and it's here's the craft that we recovered from and there's reporters there that can they're on the spot, not just you're sharing a video with us.
And I think that's a good point. Reporters, plural,
right?
Of like various
Yes.
sources and different,
Yeah.
and not just here's this one thing that we're giving you and you just need to take it at face value.
Yeah. Or a live press conference. Here is Joe the alien.
I love that name. I hope that's his name.
I was
think
going to
it-
go
I think
with
it
like Glib Glub or something, but
No, it's just Joe.
Joe the alien's fine.
Joe,
Yeah.
Joe, I think is what it's got. I mean, there's no other option. I think actually.
He's like, I go by Joe. You can't pronounce it on my
Just don't even
native
worry about it.
alien language.
Here's
so
my
it's-
book that I've brought to show you all that has text on the front you can't read.
I've
Good luck
brought back
translating it.
the Voyager or whatever it was called, the disc, the record
Oh.
from the 70s. Like, here it is, back to you. Here's
You
proof.
all lost this.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you want it back? No. So, but
Yeah.
what's interesting about both of those is, even if they were to happen, do you feel like the majority of the American public?
No, I don't think.
Yeah.
No, I know. Yeah, these are all the same questions I'm going to ask you. I don't. No,
the tables
nobody's
have
going to
turned.
believe anything.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's no motivation to.
especially if it doesn't fit your predetermined worldview.
And functionally, how does it change your life?
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I mean,
They've
very
already
little,
known
unless,
about it. They've
yeah.
already known. If this
Unless-
happens,
Yeah. Unless it's some of the stuff maybe
It
that you
comes
already
along
had.
with like here's Joe the alien, and he's letting us borrow his like teleporter. So from now on, we all, something like that.
And he
or-
actually lives in Scottsdale, Arizona, in this neighborhood, and he's been there, and his cohort have been there for however long, and which maybe is something Scott was going to bring up. I don't know.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Okay.
That they're already among us.
Yes, which
Yeah.
was I guess is a pretty popular theory. Is that right, Scott?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm
Sure.
deferring
yeah.
to you. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I think he broke the news.
Yes.
I think he
So,
did.
I mean,
His
I'm
silence
100%
speaks volumes right now.
I am interested in what he knows.
What's the move the needle thing for you?
I think it would be really difficult because, and you all hate me for this, and I know you do, but as a folklorist, like I don't have a set belief structure here. So I'm really more interested in how people respond to things.
Yeah.
So I don't have necessarily this thing that'll say like, oh, if this happens, then I'm 100% in. I believe that the people who have seen these things have seen something that they can't explain.
Yeah.
And, I'm just along for their story and their journey, and I want to understand it because I think it tells us a lot about humanity and our place in the world. So, with that being said, when I look at the larger trends of what it takes for folks to believe other phenomenon that also have a wealth of proof, and arguably even more proof than UFOs, like Bigfoot, right? In theory, there have been collection of materials that are not identifiable as an animal that we know. That science has proven that. But there are still, even when I say that, a multitude of dissenting people. So I feel like no matter what happens, even if Joe the alien or Glib Glub or our buddy or, our current president says, in fact, I have been the alien all along.
Yeah. Right. It's how do you make that?
Yeah, like, okay, does it change that I have to get up tomorrow and go to work? That's what Americans will come back to.
Because there was a
Right.
paradigm and a theory throughout the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s where the public couldn't handle it. You have to keep all these things a secret because our world system would collapse.
Economy would be meaningless. Yeah.
Economy would collapse. Religion would collapse. Everything, every institution would collapse because we couldn't handle it. I think now, I don't know if it's because of a change, but now I'm absolutely certain the absolute opposite. You could tell us whatever you want.
Yeah.
And within 24 hours, even at the most, here's Joe the alien, 24 hours, and we all move on.
Yeah. I mean, I think if anything, is this Joe?
That's skinless
Did
E.T.
Did we
Yeah.
find Joe?
Yeah,
That's horrific, actually.
Yeah,
I'm
it
gonna be
is,
so
it is.
honest. That is terrible. Thank you for that, Booth. But yes, I mean, I think you're right. But thank you. Just really get in
There's
there.
just,
Just get closer.
get the close up. Yeah.
That is awful. Why are his eyes like that? Okay, that
Where's
was
his skin? Has
terrifying.
always been my question.
Also,
but-
whatever. Never mind. I'm not going to say that. I I don't like it. They just, no. It's,
But I do think I
Horrific.
agree with you guys though that I think like you have to go into that because I think there's a large contingent of folks that would see that undeniable news, whatever that would be, a press conference, whatever it is, and they would say, yeah, cool, get my gas prices to like $3, please.
Yeah.
Like that's great. But to your point, like it doesn't change the fact that like I got deadlines at work or
Yeah.
I gotta like
Like-
answer emails tomorrow. And it might make a lot of people be like, why would I go to work tomorrow? But I just
that
think a
is
lot
part of the concern.
yeah, but I don't know that would be as widespread.
Well, so I think I've maybe mentioned this to you all before, and I could talk about this for 90 hours, so you will
me too.
need to cut me off. Is really
We'll
you will need
have
to cut
to,
me
'cause
off. You'll
we've
have to
only
put
got-
ET like back up and make it even bigger and just have him glare at me. But when I was at the 75th anniversary of the Roswell UFO Crash Festival, part of that festival and conference was a religious component, and it was held off site at the unair conditioned Roswell Mall, which I will always love forever and ever. But the point was to have go ahead.
What religion?
Christianity
Okay.
predominantly.
This is a
No,
question. I had.
that is because
I
there's
had a
UFO
related
cults
question. Yeah.
and there's
Yeah.
But
Right.
the goal of the conference was to discuss the ways in which within the Christian faith the idea that UFOs are extraterrestrial and extraterrestrials exist, not talking Scientology, that it works and that it doesn't upheave the Christian ideology that everybody is familiar with. And so at the time, like the Catholic News Network was there to also document this, because there was concern that like if there is a path forward, and the Pope has had astronomers forever and they've have their own beliefs, so all of that to say, like, there have been moves to help ease the ennui that might be experienced by folks should there be.
What do you make of the tie-in to Christianity specifically on this? Because first of all, this kind of whole rollout started with the group of pastors that got called into somewhere and they were warned that this is coming. And it's not, you don't hear, how is this going to affect Islam? How is this going to affect Judaism? It's so tightly tied to Christianity. What do you make of that? What do you make of the fact that Spielberg's Disclosure Day movie, again, he's very tied in,
which I feel like when you do like a live react of that movie, now that we've had this long conversation,
but from the very first teaser, which I found very interesting, because Close Encounters stayed 10 miles away from religion, had nothing to do with it. And this one of the very first images, an insert shot of a cross in somebody's hand, and it seems that the Catholic Church is prevalent throughout, like they're a feature of the film. What do you make of the tie between everything that's happening now and why Christianity's tied into it?
I think it's tough to give an honest opinion without it being politicized, which I don't want to happen. And this is where I say I'm here representing Dr. Ellie, none of the other interests that I have in my life. But I do think that it does show an extremely close awareness of the ethos of the American public right now, and where America is as a country, and how, even though we are more diverse than we've ever been, Christianity is still held at the height of logic, of reasoning, and I believe the most at risk of complete dismantling if there is not this like desire to go ahead and fold the extraterrestrial, ultra-terrestrial theories within the ethos. Because I think that what we have seen is, like, yes, there are extremists in every religion, but I think we have seen in America and in other countries around the world that Christianity, folks who have a strong adherence to Christianity are more likely to become mobilized in ways that other faiths haven't done in America. I'm really trying to be careful here, and I feel like I'm treading a close line. But I think that not only do Christians risk losing all ties to faith, but I also think that there's a potential for a very quick turn to occult behaviors within Christianity if it's not handled well. And when I say occult here, I don't mean like all hail Satan. I mean like an integration of folk religion in a way that would make Catholic or Christian church heads very nervous.
It's interesting, and we don't have answers for it, and clearly we don't have time to discuss it all here now. So
wish
maybe
we did.
We did an hour show for basketball. Maybe, Ellie, if you're interested, maybe we do an hour of this at some point.
Interested? That's silly. Are you for real? Of course. I would always love to do
an hour
this.
either. We can go further past that.
It's like an hour.
No, we're going to go well past an hour.
So quickly with
yes.
Without, I'm not going to give you 10 minutes to, so
well,
you just in a short answer, if you've got to say what this thing is out there, we're going to see stuff, and it's like something is out there. What is your opinion of what it would be? Is it little green men from 25 trillion miles away, which I think is the closest, like, so a life form that had to come an inconceivably far distance to get here, or interdimensional would be another, do you have a theory, or are you just completely open?
Again, I am the most frustrating human being on the planet because I don't have a belief system here for myself. In part, again, because of what I study. Mothman is also very complicated.
Right. People think Bigfoot is an alien. Some
People
do.
think that Bigfoot is an alien. People think Bigfoot's ultra-dimensional.
Yeah,
Kiwani
yeah.
Lapidus, chief among them. But I suspect that based on the stories that I have been told, that it would be more likely for it to be a dimensional tie as opposed to a universal tie. That being said, I don't know. Who am I? But that's just what I would believe to be more likely.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm an interdimensional guy, so I believe in Jesus Christ and a biblical narrative, and so I go along the lines of interdimensional rather than some people got here from, like, to me logistically it's hard for me to say that somebody came from that far away to here. There's got to be
because the biblical narrative doesn't necessarily support.
No, because the science to me
Okay.
is very difficult to get somebody from here to there, especially in the type of crafts that we've seen, little small discs and those are little puddle jumpers to me. Like if you're coming from Alpha Centauri or whatever, to me it's going to be some massive thing that can make a hull that big.
Yeah, this is the E-car.
Yeah.
Unless
This is the exploratory mission. Yeah.
Unless you've got a different set of physics that you've figured out and you can fold space and jump through that way, maybe. But then you're kind of talking about interdimensionality anyway.
I know,
so.
I was going to say, then you're right there
Right,
the
yeah.
whole way. So to me, it sounds like you're not really going along with the Battlestar Galactica. They were the first.
No,
They are
yeah.
us.
No, I see it like that there's a bunch of things out there, maybe. There's other forms of life, but that might, that can easily fit into a biblical narrative. But, that there are different frequencies that we all live on.
Yeah. I mean, I think the religious tie is incredibly fascinating because I think a lot of things.
Yeah, I know.
I know.
It's-
I saw.
it's-
I
yeah.
was like, well,
Yeah, and I
was
want to
I
get into that
understand.
too, but it's
I can read a room, believe it or not.
The two camps, because there's two camps with the tie-in to Christianity and the aliens. It's one is we don't have time for this.
But to Ellie's point, it is interesting to see like how people would respond to it in general.
Exactly.
Like trying to
Let's
rope it
come
back in.
back.
But
Let's come
I
back.
do-
Yeah.
So
No,
one camp feels like let's trick this is going to be used to let's trick the Christians into, and then another camp is like, oh, this administration is going to use this to somehow prove the Christians what their theory right, and like
Yeah.
they're both saying this, and
But then there's also the camp that UFOs are actually a byproduct of Satan.
right.
So that is very much in
Yeah.
line with.
Yeah.
Okay, so
It's wild.
I'm
It's wild
really
stuff.
interested in that.
Yeah.
it's a fascinating camp.
I'm very
Portal
interested.
to hell in the Pentagon, according to them. The one thing I will say real fast is I am interested to see how this website handles all the traffic it will receive as these disclosure dumps continue to happen, because they had 340 million visitors in the first 24 hours, and that is a ton of people. So I'm legitimately just interested to see how the infrastructure surrounding this holds up. And I encourage everybody in the wake of this disclosure, because it's interesting, we didn't even talk about the fact that most of these are military, whereas Project Blue Book was more like residential folks.
Oh,
just
a
like
little more grassroots
Yeah,
and-
just like people. So it was still investigations were done by military folks, but it was of people sightings in their homes, as opposed to this is
Right.
like military operation sightings. I encourage everybody to go look at the National Archives. It has the disclosures that have happened prior to this, as well as the tie-in to the British disclosures that happened and ceased in 2009 when the British government closed their UFO research desk. However, all of their disclosure documents are available online, just like the bulk of the United States material.
Ellie, maybe we'll do an uncompressed version of this, and so we can just
be great.
say all the nonsense and
be so fun.
and get into theory.
dive in.
And,
I'm so down. You have zero
okay.
idea.
All right. But thanks for being here.
Thank you for
and
having me.
Catching up to people, Frankfurt, and that's I feel like it's just a tease almost of where of what we could talk about.
Another quick tease: Downtown SummerSlam is Friday night.
Yes, it is.
Just
yes,
doing that
and
real
thank you for
fast.
having Cyrus on Friday.
Yes.
I'm sorry I had to
Great
go to a
guest.
graduation. I appreciate you all doing that. And SummerSlam is Friday. It will be a blast and a half. We are doing live wrestling again this summer, not at SummerSlam, but later in the
on.
summer.
Love
and it is going to be so much fun. Check out Capital City Museum's Facebook page for teasers of all the things to expect.
That sounds fun.
It's going to be a blast.
I'm excited.
All right, Ellie, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Next, we will check in on our question of the day answers. We'll see what the people of Frankfurt feel about aliens, and we'll get into what we can, all of that after this.